Hello everyone. Thank you for coming back to our channel. In today's episode, the story between Tuan and TDM and Thui continues to unfold with deep and emotional moments. After being discharged from the hospital, Thui decided to bring the grandmother home, and she didn't forget to call TDM to ask her to bring Tuan to visit. This reunion is especially meaningful, as the grandmother hasn't seen Tuan, her beloved grandson, for a very long time after losing contact with him. When Tuan arrives, the moment she sees him, the grandmother immediately pulls him into a tight embrace, tears streaming down her face. The emotions in that moment overflow like a silent thank you for his return. TDM can't hold back her feelings either. She gently shares how happy she is to see the grandmother again, and how despite all the hardships in life, she has always hoped that Tuan and his grandmother could be together. During the meal, Thui expresses her thoughts about Toan coming back to live with her and the grandmother so they can take care of him and help him recover his memory. TDM agrees with this idea. However, deep down, Toan can't stop worrying about the elderly woman in the pomelo orchard, the one who saved him from the brink of death. Can Toan set aside that debt of gratitude and return to the home where he was born? Or will he choose to stay with the old woman surrounded by the love and care she has given him? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to follow the next emotional chapters of this story. Thank you for staying with us. After the doctor informed them that she was cleared to be discharged, Thui hurried to get everything ready for her to go home. She quickly folded the blankets, packed up their belongings, and helped her to her feet. Although the grandmother still looked tired after a long period of treatment, she was clearly happy to be going home. Thui supported her as they walked out, carefully watching each step, then helped her into the car to head home. Once they arrived, Thui helped her settle into the room to rest, then went straight to the kitchen to prepare a meal. She cooked something simple, but warm and comforting, making all the dishes the grandmother liked. While cooking, Thui couldn't stop thinking about Tuan. Even though she knew he hadn't fully recovered his memory yet, she believed that seeing his family again, especially his grandmother and his sister, would give him the strength he needed to keep healing. Suddenly, an idea came to her. She looked up at the grandmother and said, "Grandma, today I'm going to call TDM and Tuan over to have dinner with us. We can all sit down together for a happy meal. Maybe it'll help him feel a little more at ease." The grandmother looked at Thui and nodded in agreement, her face gentle and full of anticipation. "That sounds good, my dear. A meal together will surely warm Tuan's heart." Thui smiled and reached for her phone to call TDM, hoping that this family reunion would be an important step in Tuan's recovery. At that moment, Tuan and TDM were sitting together in the quiet, peaceful space of the old woman's house. Even though there were still many things he couldn't remember, Tuan had found joy in the simple life he shared with TDM and the grandmother. They harvested fruit together, then went to the market to sell it, enjoying every moment side by side. Suddenly, the sound of a ringing phone broke the warm, calm atmosphere. TDM looked at the screen and realized it was a call from Tuan's older sister. She quickly answered, feeling a slight sense of nervous anticipation. "Sister, is something wrong?" TDM asked, her voice gentle but filled with concern. On the other end of the line, Thui spoke happily. "Grandma has been discharged from the hospital. She really misses Tuan and you, so I wanted to ask you to bring him to visit her." Today, she's truly been looking forward to seeing you both. Hearing this, TDM felt overwhelming joy. She turned to Toan and said, "Honey, let's not go harvesting today. Sister Thui called to say Grandma is out of the hospital and wants to see us. I think today is going to be a special day. We should go visit her." Toan looked at TDM with warm, understanding eyes. "You're right. We should go see her. I really want to visit her too, after such a long time." TDM smiled happily. She believed that seeing the grandmother again would be an important step in helping Toan gradually recover his memories and feel the warmth of family. The two of them stood up and got ready to leave, preparing to visit the old woman, the one who had been by Toan's side and cared for him throughout this time. After finishing the meal, Thui stood up, picked up her phone, and was about to call TDM to ask how far along they were. But just as she was about to dial the front door, suddenly opened. TDM walked in first, carrying a warm smile. Toan followed behind her, moving slowly, his eyes taking in the familiar house around him. Even though his memory hadn't fully returned, he still felt a sense of closeness, especially when he saw the grandmother, the woman who had taken care of him during this time. He gently greeted her. "Hello, Grandma. I'm home." Hearing Toan's voice, the grandmother smiled softly, her eyes lighting up, as if a ray of light had appeared in the darkness. "Hello, my dear. I've missed you so much." She reached for Toan's hand, and a feeling of warmth filled the small room. Toan looked at her. Though his memories of the past were still unclear, he could deeply feel the love coming from this woman. Thui stood near the doorway, seeing them together, and a wave of relief washed over her. There was no need to make the call anymore. They were right in front of her. "TDM, Toan, you're here already," she said, her voice full of happiness. TDM stepped closer, looking at the grandmother with affection. "I've missed you so much, Grandma. It's been a long time since I last saw you. Thank you for always being there for Toan." The grandmother smiled, her eyes shining with joy at the sight of them. "I've missed you too, my child. I'm so happy you came to see me today." In the warm, cozy space, the feeling of family slowly filled the room. Even though Toan didn't remember everything he felt, as if a part of his heart was being filled just by seeing his grandmother and hearing TDM's voice. In moments like this, the love and protection of family matter more than anything else. Seeing Toan and TDM chatting with the grandmother, Thui gently stepped in and said, "All right, let's go eat now. Everything's ready." Both Toan and TDM nodded as a warm, familiar feeling filled the room. Toan and TDM helped the grandmother to her feet and carefully supported her inside to the dining area. The old woman smiled. Her body was still a bit tired, but her spirits were high to be together with her family. Thui walked over and pulled out a chair for her, making sure she was comfortable. "Please have a seat," Thui said softly, her eyes never leaving the grandmother. The grandmother looked at TDM and Toan with a gentle smile. TDM, still guiding her to the chair, lightly rested a hand on her shoulder in a caring gesture. Toan also helped adjusting the chair so she could sit comfortably. Soon, all four of them were seated around the table. The warm dishes were set out, creating a cozy, intimate atmosphere. TDM felt a deep sense of peace as she looked at the table seeing everyone gathered together. The grandmother looked around at them, her eyes glowing with happiness. "Thank you, my children. I'm truly so happy to be able to sit and share a meal with you like this." They all sat together, enjoying the meal amid laughter and the warmth of family. Even though many challenges still lay ahead in that moment, they all felt calm and comforted by being together as a family. At that moment, the atmosphere in the house felt warmer than ever. Toan carefully served rice for everyone. As he filled each bowl, he felt a faint sense of familiarity, as if he had done this many times before in the past. TDM watched him with a gentle smile, her eyes full of affection. Thui observed quietly, her mind filled with thoughts. Once everyone was seated and had started eating, Thui gently broke the silence with a calm but sincere voice. "Toan, you could stay here with Grandma for now and slowly recover your memory. She's the closest family you have at the moment, and I think staying here would help you feel more stable." Her words weren't just advice, they reflected the deep understanding of an older sister who truly cared about her brother. Thui knew Tuan was struggling with his past, and returning to familiar comforting places could help him heal faster. Tuan stayed silent. He looked at Thui, then turned to TDM. TDM smiled softly and nodded in agreement. "I think it's a good decision too. Being close to Grandma and staying here can help you slowly regain your memory. I'll always be by your side wherever you are." Still, Toan hesitated. He looked at the elderly woman sitting beside him, the one who had saved him from death. She was the one who had taken care of him during his time of memory loss, the one who gave him a warm home and a sense of peace when he was completely lost. "I understand what you and TDM are saying, but Grandma is the one who saved my life. I can't just leave her alone," Tuan said quietly, his voice heavy with inner conflict. The old woman sat silently, her eyes warm and understanding. She smiled gently and spoke in a calm voice. "Tuan, I know how you feel. You've lived with me, and I saved you, but you also have your own life to live. Listen to your heart. If being with TDM and Thui helps you recover better, then I'll be happy for you. I'll always be here, so you don't need to worry." Thui watched the grandmother speak with such kindness and understanding. She knew Toan's mother had abandoned him in the past, but this elderly woman had protected him when no one else did. "Tuan, I know Grandma saved you, but you also deserve a life of your own. One day when you're stable again, you can come back and take care of her. But for now, you need to give yourself a chance to live a happy life without being weighed down by the past." Tuan sat quietly thinking about everything they had said. He couldn't deny that while the grandmother had saved him, he couldn't stay trapped in the past forever. He needed to move forward to build a new life, to be loved and cared for like anyone else. And that wouldn't be possible if he kept living in the shadow of his lost memories. "I'll listen to Grandma." And Sister Thui Tuan finally said, his voice low but steady with determination. "I'll stay with TDM, and one day I'll come back to take care of Grandma just like she took care of me." TDM gently took his hand, her eyes warm and reassuring. "I'll always be with you. Wherever we go, I'll be right by your side, helping you through everything." Thui smiled as she looked at Toan and TDM, sensing the change in him. She knew that while the journey wasn't over, Toan had begun to understand the true value of family and love. "I'm really glad you made this decision. As long as you keep trying and don't give up, Everything will be okay. The meal continued in a peaceful, comforting atmosphere. Even though Tuan's future was still uncertain and many challenges lay ahead, he was no longer alone. He had TDM Thui and the grandmother people who would walk with him on his path to recovery and happiness. This new life might begin with hardship, but at least now, Toan no longer felt lost. He had a family, and that love would be the strength that helped him move forward. The night slowly settled over the small house, wrapping it in a quiet stillness that felt gentle rather than lonely. After the meal, no one rushed to stand up. They stayed at the table a little longer, letting the warmth of being together sink in. The dishes sat half-finished, forgotten, as if no one wanted to be the first to break the moment. Tuan leaned back slightly in his chair, listening to the soft sounds of the house, the ticking clock on the wall, the faint hum of insects outside, the occasional clink of a spoon. These sounds felt strangely familiar. He couldn't explain why, but they made his chest feel calm. For the first time in a long while, his thoughts weren't racing. He wasn't trying to force memories back or questioning who he used to be. He was simply here. The grandmother watched him quietly. She had lived long enough to know that healing didn't always come from medicine or answers. Sometimes it came from silence, from shared meals, from knowing you weren't alone. She reached out and gently placed her hand over Toan's. He looked down, then up at her, surprised by how natural the gesture felt. "Eat a little more," she said softly. "You've lost weight." Tuan smiled faintly. "I will, Grandma." That single word, grandma, hung in the air for a brief second. Thui noticed it immediately. Her heart tightened, not with sadness, but with hope. He had said it naturally without hesitation. No one pointed it out. No one needed to. After dinner, Thui began clearing the table while TDM stood up to help. The two women moved side by side in the kitchen, their movements quiet and familiar, like sisters who had done this many times before. Thui glanced at TDM and spoke in a low voice. "Thank you," she said simply. TDM looked at her a little surprised. For what? For staying with him, for not giving up on him when things were unclear. TDM shook her head gently. "I never thought of it that way. I just did what felt right." Thui smiled. She could see it clearly now. This wasn't just loyalty or responsibility. It was love, steady and patient, the kind that didn't demand answers or guarantees. When everything was cleaned up, they moved into the living room. The grandmother sat on the sofa, a blanket lightly draped over her legs. Toan sat on the floor, near her, leaning against the couch, without realizing it. TDM sat close beside him. Thui watched the scene from across the room, committing it to memory. Outside, the wind brushed softly against the trees. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked, then fell quiet again. The world kept moving indifferent to their small gathering. But inside the house, something important had shifted. Tuan broke the silence. "I don't remember much," he said slowly. "Sometimes I feel like I'm missing pieces of myself, but tonight, it doesn't feel as scary." TDM turned toward him. "Why?" he thought for a moment. "Because even if I don't remember who I was, I know who I am right now, and I know who's here with me." No one spoke after that. They didn't need to. Later that night, as the grandmother grew tired, Toan stood up immediately to help her to her room. His movements were careful, instinctive. He adjusted her pillow, made sure the blanket was tucked in just right. The grandmother watched him with soft eyes. "You've always been like this," she said quietly. Toan paused. "Always." She nodded. "You may not remember it yet, but your heart does." He didn't respond, but something inside him stirred. Not a memory, something deeper. When he returned to the living room, Tui was waiting. She handed him a glass of warm water. "Tomorrow," she said, gently, "we'll take things one step at a time. No pressure." He nodded. "I appreciate that." As the night grew late, Tui prepared the guest room for TDM and Toan. Before turning in, the four of them stood together one last time in the hallway. It wasn't dramatic. No long speeches. No promises carved in stone. Just quiet understanding. Before going to bed, Tuan stepped outside alone for a moment. The night air was cool, carrying the scent of earth and leaves. He looked up at the sky, scattered with stars. He didn't know his future. He didn't know how long his recovery would take, or what memories might return if they ever did. But for the first time since waking up, lost and broken, he felt something solid beneath his feet. Behind him, the door opened softly. TDM joined him, standing close, but not touching. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Yes," he replied. Then after a pause, "I think I will be." She smiled, resting her head lightly against his shoulder. Neither of them spoke again. They didn't need to plan tomorrow. Tonight was enough. Inside the house, the grandmother slept peacefully. Tui turned off the lights one by one, her heart lighter than it had been in years. And in that quiet home, surrounded by love that asked for nothing in return, Toan began his new life, not defined by what he had lost, but by what he had found: family and hope.